Dude, it was crazy. I think Mike Cap's punched Diak. It was all in good fun.
I saw him start to cry a little bit. That was pretty crazy. Sorry.
I hate carrying shit. Dude, why do I have to carry all this shit?
This bag's pretty heavy.
Yo, what up, guys?
What's up, guys? How's
D.I.C.E? Exhausting.
Yeah, I believe it.
Pretty good.
Was it better than last year?
Different, kind of low-key, new venue.
Felt like less people, but
Yeah, fewer people.
more important people.
Yeah, so you know, it's still a cool place. You bump into lots of cool developers, a lot of people discussing high-level stuff. It's like the best of the best there, you know.
It's more like the 500 biggest movers and shakers in the industry, all at one place and one
Really
time.
interesting.
Everybody's there.
Yeah,
awesome.
everyone
Really
except
cool.
me, of course.
I'm afraid I couldn't help myself. A basic puzzle like that is easy enough to solve with a glance. Anyhow, you'd best gather your things, Luke. We've arrived.
The game is definitely the best mental workout I've had so far, including P-Cross.
It makes Brain Age look like a game for kindergartners, seriously.
I think that's really the strength of Professor Layton, is that it's not one kind of brain puzzle. It's like a bunch of different genres tossed together. You have math puzzles, you have word puzzles, you have logic puzzles, you have visual pattern recognition, you have kind of like visual Tetris logic things where you have to shift stuff around. So if there's one kind of problem you're not very good at, you can use up all your hints on that and then focus on the things that you're good at and kind of breeze through those.
Brain Age does that too. I mean, they have like all these different kind of puzzles, but I felt like when I played Brain Age that I could, you know, some of them were kind of like some of the stuff was kind of tough, like doing the arithmetic really quickly or something like that. But when I played Layton, there were some puzzles where I was like, oh my god, am I taking the SAT?
There is algebra, which I was delighted.
Exactly?
I was delighted to discover that.
I hate math. I'm
I
a visual
love
person.
math.
I write and I draw.
love
When I
all
see
about
math, I just like seize up and I think I can't do this. I hate math. I don't want to do this. This isn't fun. But you know, then you start reading the puzzles and you realize, oh, I don't actually have to calculate. I just have to figure out the trick to this. Because once you figure out their little language tricks that they use, the way they use their verbiage and they describe problems, you start realizing there's a couple little gimmicks that keep recurring throughout the game. And after you do that once or twice, it becomes transparent. And then you come across those again and you're like, you solve it in 5 seconds because, oh yeah, I've seen this trick before.
I got really sucked into one of the super obvious ones, and I was doing like this complex math, and I was getting into the thousands and tens of thousands, and I was like, wow, I'm getting the feeling like I did in high school, where I'm like, if I get the right answer, it'll be a miracle. And then I did get that, like, oh, it was just a trick. And I think that's kind of fun, you know, and it adds variety.
I really like the hint system in the game, which is that every puzzle has 3 hints built into it, but you have to earn those hints by poking around the town and earning hint coins that just kind of appear in mysterious, unexpected places. And you earn those, and you pay 1 hint coin per hint. And you can kind of keep those saved up. Like the third one usually just pretty much gives away the answer. And when that when I would go to the third one, I would always think,
Not
See,
really.
That's so
You're
obvious.
a visual-
How
you're-
could I not realize?
You're a visual person. I really have trouble with the match ones where you have to rearrange one match and then it'll like
That was
create a
one
new...
where it pissed me off
And
completely.
The hints don't do you any good on
You
those.
downloaded the bonus downloadable puzzle for the week. It's a match puzzle, and I'm lost.
No matter what your strength or what you like to do, it stretches you. And the hints, while helpful, aren't always obvious. And in fact, I burned through my 3 coins on several of those match ones, and I still haven't solved them at the end. But you know, I don't mind that, and the game really doesn't penalize you for giving up on something for the most part. I mean,
Yeah, there are only a few times in the game where you have to finish a puzzle in order to progress. And those usually aren't too terrible. Until you get to the final, like the very last few puzzles, those are really tough, but you know, it's like fighting the final boss. It's supposed to be tough. What I like most about the game, what I think really makes it work and what really makes it stand out and different from other games is that it's not just a brain game, it's also an adventure game. And it's a pretty simplistic adventure game. You never really can get lost because it's very obvious about where you have to go next. It tells you on the top screen, go talk to this dude, go to this place.
which I loved.
But that's fine
I thought was
because the alternative is, I mean, adventure games can be done really well. And when they're done really well, they're really great. But adventure games are hard to do right. And a lot of times you get these puzzles that are integrated into the environments that are just incredibly obtuse, non-obvious, counterintuitive, illogical, just frustrating to deal with. And you don't have that problem here because you're not like putting something in a slot so that you can open a door that's hidden in the wall or something like that.
And yet, because of the hint coin system, you will still find yourself madly poking around every pixel to see if you've discovered all of the coins and all the hidden puzzles. I really love brain teasers. It's like something I have always enjoyed. And you think the villagers are strangely obsessed with brain
they
teasers?
are
I'm like,
really obsessed.
I'm like, this is my kind of place.
Yeah, but
I
it's
would
like-
love to hang out with these people.
It's
They're
like,
full
okay,
of
I
fun.
need to go find the person who committed this murder. Oh, wait, but first, why don't I tell you how to draw a dead dog with matchsticks?
I would talk to people just being like, just give me a goddamn puzzle. Like, I don't even care about like what's going on with the weather or your car. Just give me a puzzle.
I do agree that the adventure game aspect is a nice wrapper for all these puzzles.
Well, the story's pretty interesting. There's kind of a mystery element about it, and I sort of figured out the twist about halfway through, but even so, it was still interesting to see how it played out. And I like the characters. Layton, Professor Layton and his assistant Luke, or his apprentice, have kind of a nice Holmes and Watson sort of relationship. Kind of adds a little bit of context and a little bit of substance to all the puzzles that you trade back and forth.
The one thing I kind of wish the game had done a little better is, you know, you can make notes on the touch screen, which you need to do for a lot of the puzzles, but a lot of times it's like you don't have enough room to make notes, or it's kind of not, and that's the only thing I think that really prevents it from being like an A+ for me. I do feel that Professor Layton, to parents out there, is great training for job interviews, because nowadays for a lot of especially like tech related or software jobs or like law jobs, you have to do brain teasers in interviews. And
Right, because, you know, when you're programming databases, you never know when you're going to get the chicks across the river without the wolves eating them.
Right.
It's important life training. It really surprised me because I'd heard a lot of hype for it, but just looking at it, it didn't really impress me that much. I liked the art style. It's really different for level 5. I mean, they're kind of like the anime cel-shaded RPG group. They did like Dragon Quest VIII, Rogue Galaxy, Dark Cloud 2. And this is like a European cartoon. It's kind of like earthy tones, everything. The character designs are just quirky and interesting. They don't look like anime. They look like something completely different, and it's a really nice change of pace.
I do think that this is one video game that no one should be able to complain about because it has nothing but a positive effect.
Well, here's my guess. Layton's apprentice saves the day.
Hey, Cesar. Hey, you were at D.I.C.E, right?
Yeah.
How was it?
Oh, dude, it was really cool. There was a lot of cool things that went on, but surprisingly, the best things weren't inside the panels. They were just, you know, the things that transpired in between the segments, in between the sessions, and the interviews we got. Like,
Yeah,
those were
that's what I love about D.I.C.E. I mean,
Yeah.
you just catch all these people there. And
yeah, it was really cool.
How come Epic hates Nintendo and refuses to make games for their platforms?
Well, I've been meeting my wife for about 3 years now, Shane, and that's interesting you'd ask. Yeah, I mean, would I make a game for the Wii? It's a huge install base. It's something to think about, but we're kind of over the top, we want our games to be more metal, right? It's too bad, because I'd love to make a Wii game, because then my mom would play one of my games. That'd be the first time, right?
The rumor that you were going to stop making games that was going around like 6 months ago.
I never stopped to create a game. The last year, I spent my passion into the music and the music video. But that kind of activity, when I'm making the music and the music video, I'm always thinking about what is the next game project.
Because it's this 10-year project, everyone wants to just focus on that and not actually look at the product that is coming out.
We can't afford a critical mistake. That's the kind of thing that will hurt us. And I believe Too Human is the strongest game that we've ever made. And I think it's gone beyond our expectations. And hopefully gamers and people like yourself will feel the same way.
You can never at any other place, can you see the dude who made Twisted Metal talking to the dude.
Right. That's what I love about D.I.C.E.
I can't believe that my face got so destroyed by one dog though. That's what's so. I mean,
it was like aliens, man. It was like the face hugger of beagles.
If Pouchon wasn't so cute, I flipped out. But then again, how can you complain about getting licked by Uematsu's dog, really, right?
Yeah, for real. I knew for a long time that I wanted to get Uematsu and then eventually Sakaguchi interviewed in the way we interviewed Yoshitaka Amano.
Right.
And the Amano thing turned out really well, but the Uematsu thing, you were obviously there filming it with me. That was just unbelievable. We went up to Mount Fuji. We stayed there overnight. The next morning, Uematsu comes to pick us up in his wife's little underpowered car. Car barely makes it up the hill.
We can barely make it up the hill because we got a bunch of fat Americans in the car.
We added so much weight.
We're driving miles and miles and miles through the woods. We finally get to his cool little house in the woods. Just beautiful there. It's just surrounded by trees.
I mean, I know it must sound funny, but he and his wife, when we met them, they were wearing these cute T-shirts that had little slogans on them, like "Have a vacation every day" or something.
Yeah, matching sweatpants.
Yeah, matching sweatpants, and their dog Pouchon is just like this really sweet puppy dog.
He was so generous, so nice, so welcoming. It's like, here, come to my summer home. Like his wife just kept bringing up beer. It was a non-stop flow of beer.
We basically they fed us beer and sat us on the floor on the couch or out by on a picnic table outside, and they just let you ask whatever you wanted.
I'm not sure if this is correct or not, but I seem to recall you mentioning before that you weren't actually classically trained as a musician. You're kind of self-taught.
ないですよ。僕音楽なんか習ったこともないし、楽器も習ったことないし、未だに譜面とか苦手ですもんね、読むの。そうなんです。本当に。何がきっかけですかね。おじいちゃん家に休みの日に遊びに行ったらギターが転がってたんですよ。小学校の時に。で、どうやって弾くかもわかんないんだけど、なんかかっこよかったんで、これもう誰も使ってないのって言ったら誰も使ってないよって言うから、じゃあちょうだいって言って小学校の時に持って帰ってきたはいいんですけど、ね、遊び方わかんないでしょ。
And I just couldn't get over the fact that this is the guy responsible for the Final Fantasy fanfare, like that that will never go away from your brain. Like that guy made that, or the Final Fantasy theme, like that guy made that. He seems like a normal guy. He doesn't seem like he in no way resembles anyone, like that you would consider famous. If you just saw this guy walking down the street, he would just be some normal guy. But he made music is so important to Final Fantasy, and he's so humble for everything that he's done. It's so great.
Yeah, what's amazing about him is that he's been composing soundtracks for video games before the medium finally caught up to what he was capable of in terms of CD-ROM storage and all that. He's been doing this for years when he only had chips and bits to express what he was composing. Getting him on record saying a lot of stuff about not only what he's doing now, but primarily about what he's done in the past, that was really major.
ボールルームのところはでも多分 そんなにワルツとポルカが流れてただけですよね。苦労はそんなにはなかったですね。で CD ロムになってから音色の音色の持ち方っていうのが、ちょっとそれは音楽というよりもプログラム関係の話になるんですけど、音色のうまい持ち方っていうのをこう工夫していって、音色は789。
And my arm, you know, was getting tired after like hour 5 of you sitting and asking questions, and I was like, at some point I felt like, man, he's got to stop soon. There can't be anything else to ask at this point.
Right.
And it finally did stop, thank God. And we got to go upstairs and look at all of his like musical instruments and his like Elton John album collection. And you know, at this point, it's like getting late at night, and we really thought like these people, you know, probably want us to get the hell out of their house.
Yeah.
And then they invited us to dinner at some local restaurant.
What's local food? Like everything up near Mount Fuji is like swans, boats, swan ships. You know.
Well, we didn't eat any swans, thankfully.
We didn't eat any swans,
but we did have horse sashimi and emu karage.
Yeah, I've never eaten emu before.
It was just such a great way to cap off a night with these people. You know, that would like truly seemed like friends after the night was over. You know,
never experienced something quite like that day.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited personally about you know, finally being able to take the wraps off of this and get the interviews out there, because he says some really amazing stuff.
Like when he was talking about why he finally decided to leave Square, I just could not believe his reason. It's like so the opposite of what
it's so not what you're expecting.
not at all what you'd expect as a reason for him to leave. Like this man who's got this like such a storied history with this company going way back in this very popular, you know, product that they make. And the reason he finally decided to leave is just like.
Ready to have some fun.
Nick, true or false? You were scared playing this game and you needed help. You needed a friend by your side at all points.
I did. It's a terrifying game.
How old are you?
Hold up. You first, Mr. Thomas.
Take it slow.
And I usually don't like games that make me tense. I just don't like the emotion of tension while I'm playing video games. But when it's good enough and well executed enough, I can handle it.
The whole game has this very kind of like tight feel. I don't know if it's the field of view or what they did to change it, but it's like you feel very constrained. It's very tense the whole time.
Because of that, like when they want you to see something creepy going on, you're usually looking right at it.
Right.
And that's kind of where the game's at its best, I think, is when it's showing these little hints of like something dashing off your screen or like a little vision flashing in your,
right.
in your
and
face.
when you don't feel like your camera is being forced in that way, you're like, oh, I saw this thing, and I don't feel like it was necessarily as scripted as it could have felt.
And even if you do miss something that you're supposed to see, you're gonna hear it because the sound design is fucking brilliant in this game.
You can hear people on the floors above you and the floors below you doing things while you're searching on the floor you're currently on. And to be able to recognize that subtlety of the sound design and know like, oh, when I go upstairs I'm gonna have to fight some guys, like that's just really interesting to me.
I never been to a doll factory, but I never realized how creepy that could be.
The part of that stage that I thought was more tense and ended up really liking was once you got the gas mask. The sound changes, your vision's clouded, and everything's internalized, and at that point, then that stage gets scary for me, because then it's not about dolls, it's about fire and escaping. the end of the stage was just outstanding.
It adds to that layer, that subtle layer of claustrophobia that's there in the game throughout.
The graphics are really good. They kind of have that next-gen shininess to them still, but...
Same as the first game.
Right,
Yeah.
but like at the hotel, like all these little details, like everything seems like it was, you know, like lovingly created.
Yeah,
in a way.
it seems like they thought things out. Every single environment looks differently and has its own identity.
It also helps too. In the first one, I think the environments are really static. Like you'd see like a shelf with a bunch of things on it, and no matter what you did, beat on it, whatever, nothing would move. And in this, it's like I guess because of improved physics over time, you'll see like a pile of chairs on the ground, and if you kick it or walk over it, you can move them around. And it's like a little thing, but it makes the whole experience just a lot more cohesive when you can interact in some way with most things.
There's always an underlying tension to everything you're doing, but they do a good job of breaking up the genuinely scary parts with, you know, the investigation sections and stuff like that, which actually make you think.
I like that the puzzles are puzzles that you can solve environmentally and that, you know, you don't have to do them to advance. You're not required to finish each one in the exact one solution per puzzle way that you could do it in the last game.
Some of the questions they ask you sometimes are a little obscure, and you really have to be paying attention to the plot, which is also a good thing because it kind of forces you to like remember names and what's going on.
I agree. You're in a hotel room, like an abandoned hotel room, but a hotel room, and they want to know what room number you're in so they can come and find you. But the door number on the door is kind of like blocked out, so you can't see it all. So you end up like thinking like, where else can I? Oh, the telephone. The telephone's gonna have the room number on it.
How you did it?
Yep, the room number plus the telephone number, which also has like part of the number visible.
Oh,
you
nice.
can
Yeah, I just walked down the hall and saw the door.
Well, see, what I did is actually right at the entrance to the door, the two numbers are down there, but the 9 is turned upside down, so it looks like a 6. So I went down the hallway and saw it was 221 and knew that it was 219 because it was right down the hall.
The door. I just went down the hallway. So
Yeah.
it's cool that we did it 3 different ways.
And yeah, compared to the first game, I think I like this one from what I played a lot better because the melee combat feels definitely refined.
You know, it's not like a Silent Hill game where I don't think to run away first. I think like
yeah.
L and R are right and left
they're gonna
punch.
find you if you're
yeah, they're gonna come after me anyway. I gotta go fight these guys. There are things that are going to jump out and frighten you in this game. Like you'll be standing there and then all of a sudden you'll realize, oh my god, behind me is an enemy. I want to go, oh my god, You want to mash and you need to not do that or else you will die.
And I never had a problem, you know, blocking when I had to, or throwing punches because like there is some animation to them, so it takes some time. So if you're button mashing, you'd probably hitting it 3 times, maybe get 2 animations out of it. I mean, the first game was the same type of thing. It wasn't as smooth, but it was the same type of combat.
Sort of, except for in the first game, your combat was very deadly. Like if you came up and you hit a guy with like your 2x4 3 times, they went down. In this game, if you do not do the combos, you can punch someone 50 times and they will not go down. And you have to do these like punch, kick, punch, or left, right, left combos to build up a combo meter. And when there's more than one person that you're fighting, they can break your combo and thus, you know, negate your ability to fill your combo bar.
In that regard, the combat is functional. You have to like bend to the combat and know how to do that and respond to everything.
Right.
So therefore, the encounters are exciting because of how like the enemies are designed, how they come up on you.
The last game definitely felt like a melee combat game only, and then when you did get guns, it was just like this strange thing where you'd only have like 3 bullets, and, it was awkward to fire them.
It was almost like a
now
power up because it would just blow guys away but be gone relatively quickly. So
right, it wasn't like you were playing a shooter, I guess is what I'm getting at. But in this game, when you get guns, you have sights that you can look down, and I think that the gun combat actually feels pretty darn good. And we know that they're unlocking an FPS mode after you beat the game that lets you play through it like an FPS, and I think that could actually be fun.
Right, and it shows that they've put some effort into the gun combat, and they want you to experience it a little bit more.
The beginning of the game sets up that this is the sequel to Condemned. You know, we're going to take everything that was good about the last game and keep it. Everything that was bad about the last game, make it better. And then around 3 or 4 levels into the game, then you start getting the new stuff. And that's when it gets really exciting.
They almost take you out of your comfort zone of what you've come to expect with Condemned.
Yeah,
and throw you in an environment that you're not used to interacting with in this series.
It doesn't just feel like Silent Hill in first person, it feels like that for a little while, and then a little bit of this, and then you're in a stealth mission, and then, you know, you're walking down this corridor shooter, and then this, and every part of it, even though the gameplay is very different, feels cohesive.
The parts I just haven't been thrilled with so far have been when they spend too much time away from the psychological stuff and just focus on those like corridor shooting stuff, and like that's fine and it's well done, but that's not why I'm playing Condemned.
Yeah, it definitely takes a turn, and I think it's more personal taste to whether you like that more or not, because I would have preferred the more claustrophobic, scary stuff, because that's what sucked me in.
Anyway, I hope people decide to give it a look, even if they didn't see the first Condemned. I think you know, obviously the story's not going to make quite as much sense, but
it's not
it's
going
not
to make a lot of sense by the end.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think this game's about the story, really.
If you're playing this game for the story, you're playing it for the wrong reasons. It's about getting the shit scared out of you, and this game does that consistently.
And visceral first-person melee combat.
Yeah. There hasn't really been anything else like it. I mean, Bioshock is the closest for me between the two games, like in this sort of vibe, and it's like it still feels refreshing 2 years later, even though like looking at it for 5 minutes, it is the same game if you haven't played enough to appreciate the differences, but like it still feels new and it's still exciting and still definitely, I say, will be a sleeper again.
Bring it.
What are you looking at there, Dano? Is that Tyra Banks on the red carpet?
Dude, look how fat Tyra Banks is. She
craps herself
on
the red carpet.
She let herself go. This is a good headline, but check this one out, dude. This is totally worth it.
Whoa, there's Paris Hilton's brother's DUI mugshot.
That is pretty good. He does not look very happy.
You know, Ho, I know you're kind of a fan of the celeb culture, the red carpet kind of thing.
Yeah.
Did you hear at D.I.C.E, I got to work my very first red carpet.
Stunning celebrities everywhere. It's a veritable orgy of celebrity goodness.
My calves, Cliffy B.
One word. So, earlier today, he was saying that you have a bald spot. So I need to. I'm just kidding, Cliffy B. Or am I not? Ted Price, Lord of Insomniac, creator of Ratchet and Clank and everything Resistance, all the good shit. Would you go to a Hannah Montana concert?
Of course I would.
And tell us more about Resistance 2. No, I'm just kidding. You don't tell us anything. Man of the Year, Game of the Year. You kind of swept our entire awards. In fact, you wrote our entire EGM awards. Has all the fame gone to your head? I mean,
it's horrifying. Call the police.
Oh my God, it's J-Mo. So I'm a big fan of Go. Even though you're not in the Vegas parts of Go, you're in the LA parts of Go. Did you ever get to fuck Katie Holmes?
No, I never did.
Is that a regret?
I have no regrets.
You could have had L. Ron Hubbard's secret baby with Katie Holmes. That could have been you, dude.
No way, man.
So, Britney got released yesterday. What advice do you have for her today? She did already flash her vagina once to paparazzi. Already, 12 hours out. What is your advice for this troubled pop starlet?
Find somebody you trust. Like Britney's watching this shit, right?
Can she come crash with you, dude?
I hope she gets better. And,
You heard that, Britney? David Jaffe says, get well soon.
Wait, you gotta tell me right now. I hear some rumors that she might be taking over Chloe Boggs' position as the God of War director.
For God of War 3?
Yes.
I can't really talk about that.
Whoa, dude, I'm so gonna tell Keyman to put that in next month. Oh, it's gonna be great. So speaking of that, dude, so what games are there? Any hot gossip? Any good games?
It's not so much about games or gossip or hands-on. For that kind of stuff, that's GDC next week, Game Developers Conference. You'll get to see new games there. You'll hear actual game news. This was more about just hanging out, getting drunk.
So basically, you flew to Vegas to talk to David Jaffe about Britney Spears.
Yeah, pretty much.
Damn, I'm jealous.